Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. I thought I would test something out here, something new with regards to those longer stories that y'all were asking about the other day. Again, there was a lot of good feedback with regards to having longer entries, longer stories on my YouTube channel. So I thought I would do this almost as a little treat. A couple of years back, I had mentioned about a really good book called Through a Misted Glass by David Marsh. And I'll include the link for the video below in case you haven't seen it where I gave my review on it. David Marsh was a doctor who actually did a very nice show, one of my favorite shows ever, called Cursed. And on that show, he chronicled very frightful encounters that people have had with various things, either haunted objects, cursed objects as well, or anything else involving other mysterious circumstances. Well, he also made a book called Through a Misted Glass, which you're looking at a picture of here. And in it, he chronicles 10 cases of people who went through also similar circumstances, similar frightful circumstances and other types of curses as well. So I thought I would dedicate each chapter to a different video here, and then that way showcase that information for you, do it like as another encounter on this YouTube playlist, and see what your thoughts are. I don't know how far I can go on this because the book is available for free. It's a downloadable book for free on smashwords.com. I'll include the link for it below. That's how I read the book. So please check out the book when you have a chance. Download it yourself, read it. It's a really good, insightful book about these type of frightful encounters and circumstances. But I don't know like how far I can get, like if it can just be shared here in this manner or if there's something else I can do. But let's see. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's read chapter 1 of Through a Misted Glass by David Marsh. So here's what he states. At age 17, Lauren was a bright, happy girl and a devout Christian. She was a member of her church's outreach program and an A student at school. When the opportunity came to travel to the border of Mexico and Guatemala on a missionary trip, she was excited to go. Lauren and 5 other members of the church youth group accompanied 6 adults who would all go and help build sanitation systems, wells, work the crops, and spread the word of God. The trip was for a 2-month stay during the summer, which was a grueling time to go. They stayed in what amounted to shacks, but this didn't matter to the kids. They were on an adventure. The villagers were friendly, helpful, and ready to share. It was in the second week that the village was visited by a bruja, or witch, so the villagers said. The old woman came through the village, and some people went to leave food or clothing in her path. The villagers said this was to prevent any wrath from the witch in the form of failed crops, wells going dry, babies disappearing, and so on. All the missionaries had been told such beliefs existed, but to refrain for arguing these beliefs, and more importantly, to never engage the brujas or brujos of the area. Though no one believed in their magic, it wouldn't do to upset the villagers. The witch visited again a few weeks later, and this time took something from a child without the item being offered. Lauren saw this and felt angry towards the witch, but she held her tongue, remembering the warning not to upset the villagers. Plus, it was not her nature to confront an elder. She did, however, ask one of the village girls her age to explain why they allowed the old lady to take from them. The girl told Lauren a tale of disappearing babies, some stolen straight from the womb, and children vanishing in the night that shocked and angered Lauren. The girl said the lady was older than anyone could remember and possessed great magic that no one could defend against. She said it was much better to let the old lady have what she wanted, thus gaining her protection rather than incurring her wrath. Lauren was angered and a bit frightened, but still remained quiet, even respectful of the woman, though she would go nowhere near the old woman on her 3rd visit. Then some weeks passed, and Lauren all but forgot about the witch. Lauren had become good friends with the girl, who was her age, and had given the girl several things, including a black and gray silk scarf. And so the girl considered it her prized possession and wore it all the time, tying her hair with it. It wasn't hard to figure out what happened next. The witch showed up again and attempted to take the scarf. The girl resisted for a moment and was about to relinquish the scarf when Lauren stepped in to intercede, pulling the scarf away from the old lady. But the witch had a strong hold and refused to back down, so Lauren twisted the woman's thumb to make her let go, which she did with a pain-filled screech. By now, village and missionary adults came and pulled Lauren and the girl away, taking them far from the woman. Adults tried to see to the woman, making offerings and platitudes, but she hobbled out of the village, pausing only once to stare after Lauren and the village girl. And so the morning of the second day after the incident, a blood-dipped chicken feather was found on the doorstep to both girls' homes. This caused a general alarm among the villagers, and the missionaries decided to leave early after consulting with the village leaders. Lauren was devastated, as was her friend, but they vowed to stay in touch. And so the two exchanged letters every month or two, the incident seeming to have no ill effects on either. A year passed, and Lauren got a letter from her friend saying that the girl was getting married to a nice boy from another village. Lauren told her news that she was graduating and considering college. 6 months later, Lauren received a letter saying the girl was pregnant and happy to be living with her new husband. And so Lauren sent congratulations, and 4 months later, Lauren sent a letter saying she too was getting married. The return letter told Lauren that the girl had a miscarriage earlier that month. Lauren was devastated for her friend, but remembered the stories about the witch and babies. She tried to put that out of her mind and sent her friend a letter of condolence. She never heard from that girl again. And so Lauren married 6 months later. Her life was good. She worked at a local restaurant, and her husband had a good job with a factory. Then the moment she had waited for happened. She was pregnant. And so the thought of the witch, the feather, and the stories bugged at her, but she faithfully went to prenatal appointments and adhered to the diet and lifestyle the obstetrician had advised. She was told both she and the baby were healthy and doing well, and in the final week of her first trimester, Lauren had a miscarriage. A year later, she conceived again, and though her anxiety levels worried her doctors, she remained diligent to their orders. Meanwhile, the effects, the miscarriage, and the new baby she carried brought stress to her marriage and family relations. Her family, devout Christians all, urged Lauren to place her faith in God and pray for a healthy child. Her husband watched Lauren as the pregnancy progressed, and Lauren's fear of the curse increased. He strongly advised her to seek psychiatric help. Unfortunately, his insurance would not cover this treatment, and they could scarcely afford to pay for it themselves. Lauren became overly worried as she came to her second trimester, and again, she had a miscarriage. Lauren was now a solid believer in the curse. Her family brought in church experts who sought to either counsel her in respect to the curse or even remove this curse. She became so obsessed with the curse that she slipped into a deep depression, losing interest in life and the things she once cherished. Her health declined as she ate and slept less. Her husband worried constantly, and much to his surprise and consternation, almost 1 year after the second miscarriage, Lauren announced that since she could not bear his children, she wanted a divorce to set him free to find a wife who could give him the family he so wanted. He finally convinced her to seek mental health intervention, paying for it out of his own pocket, despite the strain this put on their lives. And 8 months later, Lauren was again pregnant, in therapy and attending church rigorously. Outwardly, she appeared content, even happy, but inside she was on the verge of a breakdown. She remained convinced that the curse would take this child too, and secretly vowed that when it did, she would leave and live the rest of her life alone, never considering a happy life with children. This outward calm did not fool Lauren's mother, however, and she continued to search for a religious solution to Lauren's curse. As Lauren approached the second trimester, she mentally held her breath in anticipation of what she now considered an inevitable conclusion to her pregnancy. Her mother found, through church channels, a Catholic priest from South America who was in the U.S. and was reputed to have knowledge of such curses. And so he agreed to see Lauren. And after the initial conversation, he said he could remove this curse. He performed this ritual, and Lauren felt better but still apprehensive, and the priest told her this was normal but assured her the curse was removed. Lauren states that the somewhat bizarre ritual was almost as frightening as the curse itself. The second trimester came and went, and Lauren gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Lauren, her husband, and their son continued with normal lives after that, and Lauren's successful conceived and birthed 2 more children. And then that's it. That's everything associated with Chapter 1 of Through a Misted Glass by David Marsh. So let's go ahead and let's talk about that here. For starters, it gives you an idea essentially of what the book is going to be about. It's each chapter dedicating a separate case of some incident. In most cases, it'll be a curse, but other type of bizarre circumstances surrounding some ill-gotten people, somebody that essentially is having some bad luck or something else sinister impacting their lives. In this case, though, it looked like it happened with this poor young girl, with this Lauren. There she was essentially at another location, a village. She happened to have a friendship with that other young girl, and then lo and behold, that's where the witch came through. Everyone was, of course, making sure that the witch was respected, almost given like all these considerate gifts associated with food and other types of items. But here was Lauren, an outsider, thinking that this was wrong, especially when this witch tried to take whatever was associated with her friend and the gift that Lauren gave her. Obviously, this was the wrong thing to do. Surely enough, she got that curse, whatever that feather did, that blood-soaked feather. And when that happened, it not only impacted that young girl, whoever she was, and who knows what happened to her, considering that she never ever reached out to Lauren again after a while. But then Lauren had those unfortunate and tragic miscarriages, and then everything else was impacting her with her marriage, her depression, and then every other aspects of her life and her family. So was this truly part of this curse? Did it really harken back to that witch who gave one final stare to Lauren as she was walking away, harmed by the actions that Lauren did, especially when it came to the twisting of the thumb? It's hard to state because, again, it could just be pure coincidence, horrible coincidence, but still coincidence nonetheless, or it could be something else involving truly of a curse. And it's great, like this, the book and the chapters otherwise leave it open to that interpretation. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Love to hear what your comments are with regards to this type of entry. I'm gonna, if it looks good enough, I'm gonna definitely do some of the rest of the chapters, chapter 2 and so on, until I finally cover all those 10 cases. And again, please check out my video on my initial review of Through a Misted Glass, and then also check out the other link involving the actual book itself. You can download it for free, again, and that's free. Like, in other words, you don't have to sign up for anything. It's there. It's available for free on the website for smashwords.com. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.